is complex. I mean that the complexity is you. I just want you to understand, when Cindy and I started, and we're 25 and a half years in the business, you guys, which is, I think, why Greg Provenzano featured us this last week, because we're old dogs. And I've been telling them, you know, you don't want to pick a fight with an old dog in the street, because the old dog still has some kick in him. And so I told Greg, I said, just look out for us old dogs. We had some things, had to deal with my leukemia, had to deal with burying Cindy's dad, had to deal with life. But when we started, for those of you guys that don't know our story, I was running a construction business. My kids were 5 and 2. Mom and dad with mom with pancreatic cancer, dad with leukemia, mother-in-law lupus, father-in-law stroke. All of this was hitting at the same time. In our family structure, we are very spiritually minded. So we have my vocation is as a full-time minister. So our spiritual life was predominant, family life is second, and business life supports that. And Cindy and I have a happy marriage. I fell in love with her at 17, married her at 19. On June 18th, we celebrate 38 years together. And, you know, I'm one of those fortunate people. It's one of those love stories. We've worked through our challenges. We have beautiful children. But when we started, there was no quality of life. And my problem when I saw ACN was not whether it made sense. How many of you, by show of hands, agree ACN just makes sense? How many of you are dumbfounded by people that don't understand that ACN makes sense? Doesn't it just blow you away? But I saw this. But my challenge was how to wear the hats. I'm a music person. I play the piano. I'm a music writer for my own entertainment. I used to play professionally, but not anymore. And here's what you guys need to know. I'm going to write a song. It's going to be called Hats. Just write it down. I don't know if you'll ever see the light of day, because I have to go through like you do. So it's daddy hat, husband hat, ministry and spiritual hat, construction guy hat, take care of mom and dad cancer hat, be nice to the in-laws and help out with that. You guys understand what I'm talking about? The business was never about that it made sense. It was how the bleep am I going to do this? Because I was already busy before I started ACN. How many of you were busy before you started ACN? Mm-hmm. And here's the part that's crazy. I want to talk to you single moms and dads. I want to talk to you women there. You know, can I make a revelation to you guys? It's a miracle to me that you women have human beings grow inside of you. And then you reach this point where you push this watermelon-sized human being outside through this straw and you create life. And then you nurture life and feed life. And somehow in the middle of that, you're building your ACN business. Can I just do this to you? For all of you women out there, it is just an amazing thing to me, but it's not easy. And here's another challenge. Some of you have gone through some relationship breakups. In fact, if you want to, throw in your chat there. Tell me the challenges. Just throw in there challenges you face while building your ACN business. See, for me, it was dealing with sick parents, running a company, being a dad, being a husband, all of these things all at once, and trying to find 5 to 8 hours a week to do it. I'm looking in my chat. Hold on a second. And so far, I don't see any of you supporting me, so that's okay. That's all right. Family, very good. Family is, let me tell you why family's a challenge. How many of you have family like mine that don't support you? Yeah, right. Very good. Let's just be real about that. My big brother, who I love dearly, he's coming to stay with me in a couple weeks, survived cancer in this room 5 months. He has not tried one service, not one ACN service in 25 years. How many of you can relate to family that doesn't support you? Let's see. We have family and work. This is fun. Children, family, lack of support, finances. Oh, man. Doug Giroux, taking care of my 95-year-old mom in Zimbabwe from UK. That's amazing. Ministry and family, very good. Taking care of a husband with stage 4 cancer, being a single mom, studying. So let me help you here. This is why I'm doing the training today. I am not with any additional powers. I just want to take, can I just take 3 years off your journey to the top of the company? Today we'll take 3 years off. You might still take 10 years to get there, but it would have been 13. But I'm going to take 3 years off because I learned this Remember, I've been in the business for 25 and a half years. How many of you I've been in the business longer than you've been alive? Raise your hand, please. Look at that. This is just astounding to me. Anna Via Paderna. I've been in the business longer than you. Been alive, right? And I still... So here's what you guys need to understand. There's two scenarios that I want to present to you. I'm building up for where we're going with this. You have a full life. You have many hats. And you can wear the hats in successive order, or full life, many hats all at once. Which one sounds to be the better way? Hats worn at different times successively, or one hat on top of the other hat on top of the other hat? How many of you like option one? Show of hands. Good. And how many of you would rather wear all the hats at once? You're just not brave enough, but that's good, because option one is what we're going for. Here's what I learned. I learned this from a mentor of mine. I was doing multitasking. How many of you have heard of multitasking? That's the reason why I struggled so hard for 3 years and 4 days and 7.5 hours to go from my app to regional vice president. And that's the reason why it took me 3 years at RVP, stuck 500 points from SVP, 3 years doing this all the time. Built a month, lost it in purge. Built it, lost it in the purge. I did not understand the difference between multitasking, which is a failure mindset, and compartmentalization, which is a victory mindset. Are you guys keeping up all right so far? I'm going to make sense of this. It's kind of like a good orchestra. We're going through different movements, and then we're going to have the big crescendo at the back end, all right? So I'm not going to be preachy. We have many religions represented on this thing, but one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is a proverb 22:3, where it says that the shrewd one sees the danger and conceals himself, but the inexperienced one keeps on going, right on going, and suffering the consequences. Did you guys catch that? If you're shrewd, you look at the, Category 5 hurricane and you run for shelter and you conceal yourself. But if you're inexperienced, you run right into the storm and get wiped out. Makes sense, right? So here's what I'm trying to get with that little scriptural point, is that you will not go to whatever level you're aiming for, regional director, regional vice president, senior VP. You will not get there if you don't go into your business understanding the challenges you're facing and knowing how to navigate through them. And for those of you that are brand new, this is your first month in the business. I think half of my team that applies to that's here from the US. This is a reality check. This training is either going to blow you out of the business or it's going to make you stronger than you ever imagined. Because in the old days, I would sometimes be reluctant to share with my new leaders what's in front of them because I didn't want to scare them away. And now, can I be real with you? I want you to know everything that's coming. Because if I can manage your expectations, you're not going to get knocked out of the box when you go through a divorce. When you just finished wrapping up 2 or 3 kids, and here comes surprise number 4. When your jobs suddenly are not enough to pay your bills and you got to keep going with ACM, but you need to add some income at the same time. When everything is good in your life and then suddenly, like me, you find out you have cancer. Life happens. How many of you agree that life happens? So I'm going to try to get, for those of you that are brand new and those of you that are not brand new, I want to help you to understand what's in front of you. One of the reasons why many, usually at least 2 out of 3, even if they have spectacular results, are gone. Did you guys hear the terrible stat I just gave? Did I say that? Yes, I did. I just said, look at your screen. I want everybody to look at your screen for a minute. I want you to imagine that 2 out of 3 people, we have 64 logins. I want you to imagine that 40 logins just disappear. Because in the next 3 years, only 1/3 of the people logged in here, statistically, are going to be here in the next 3 years. How many of you are not shocked by that staggering statistic? Okay, show of hands, how many of you are completely shocked? You had no idea that 2 out of 3 are going to Be real. This is open dialogue. How many of you hate the fact that 2 out of 3 people aren't going to be here in the next 3 years? Isn't that awful? Now, I don't care about what happens to 2 out of 3 because I'm responsible to people. I'm not responsible for people. Neither are you. We bring people to the water, but only the horse decides if they want to drink, right? But how many of you want to be in the 1 and 3, not the 2 and 3 that quit? Let me tell you why this happens. Some people allow life in its many categories to become so full of distractions that they just fade away. I liken that to being on a diet. How many of you ever been on a diet to lose weight? And because you want to look really fine like me. I'm just kidding. And how many of you go on the diet and you just start to do about 2-3 weeks, you just start to do little treats, edge of a cookie, piece of a scone, just a little something. And then how many of you realize that about a month later, you're no longer on the diet because you've completely blown it? That's what happens. Some of you, because you go into this with zeal, your business starts with emotion, but starts to convert from emotion to logic. And what happens is the babies get sick. You find out that there's a lump you got to have checked out. Mom and dad need something. There's an extra exam or you're falling behind in your university or college. You get the picture. And suddenly your focus starts to change and you simply fade away. Still love ACN, still like ACN, but you get permanently stuck at ETL. How many of you have people, those of you that are experienced leaders, you have people that are ETL and they've been in the business years? I love those people because they still have loyalty. They're still fighting the fight. But you know what? We're not doing them any favors. 25 pounds, $25 a month, 300 pounds, $300 a year is not designed to have people stay as an ETL. Does everyone get that? The longer you stay as an executive team leader, some of you have been executive team leaders for 10 plus years. Love you for your loyalty. Do not love where you're at. You're not doing yourself any favors. You're actually allowing all the people in your life that have criticized you that ACN will not work. You're proving to them it's true. Now, granted, longevity is credibility in the company, but how many of you would like to finally break the mold and not stay ETL? Isn't that beautiful? How many of you would like to not stay regional director and get to RVP? Let's just get on with the show. Some people don't fade away. They just up and quit. They have an IQ. What? They have an IQ? What the heck is this American guy talking about? They've established their IQ level. IQ stands for I quit. They have an I quit level. I'm going to give this thing a year. And if I'm not at 1,000 pounds or $1,000 a month or whatever at the end of the year, I'm out. That's like me going to Cindy and saying, I'm going to give it a year. If she doesn't stop squeezing the toothpaste in the middle of the toothpaste thing, we're done. It's over. You've established for yourself the day of your death in ACN. How many of you would agree that is not the right way to build your business? I also want to tell you some stories. Some of you are going to get stagnant. I'm giving you all the horror stories so I can love you back up. Some of you are going to stay stagnant so long that you become the quarry for the other people and other opportunities to feed and peck and take you away. The longer you stay at ETL, the longer you stay at RD without growing, you can just count. Look, Doug and I and Mr. Anthony Ranjit and others that are here, I can guarantee you, I get a call once a month with people. I just got a call 2 weeks ago with a guy. I get thrown money. I've been thrown millions of dollars to jump ship and take my team, those that would follow over to another opportunity. All the time. The more successful you get, the more people want you on board. But guess where they mostly feed? They feed on people that never progress. So some people are going to quit, some are going to fade away, and some are going to jump ship. I remember, I have one of my Danish leaders on right now. I remember one day waking up to a gal that I'd given my life to as a regional director in Denmark. She quit and took, listen, 80 of my team with her to another opportunity. in one day. I want you guys to think about that. For my American team, which is about 110 IBOs and growing, just keep in mind, imagine if 80 of them and one of the leaders just went off and jumped to another opportunity. They failed at the opportunity. They were obviously deactivated from ACN for breaking the policies, but they thought that the grass was greener somewhere else. Can I help you on this? The grass is greener where you water it. If you aren't doing the things to build your ACN business, your grass is going to die and you're going to see what looks to be a better opportunity and you're going to jump. You have to prepare yourself for the inevitabilities of life and ACN in order to survive. Here's a reality for you. At some point in your ACN career, or at many points, life will rear its ugly or glorious head and will attempt to wreak it out on your ACN dreams and goals. Jenny, if you could one more time, just throw the attachment back on screen. All of you guys in your chat will see that there's a file that looks like what I'm using here. Just this gives you a chance to take notes if you want and print it out. Did you notice that I said that at some point or many points you're going to have glorious or awful, ugly things happen in your career? Let's talk about some negative things. Some of you have put it up. At some point, you're going to contend with illness, yours or someone else's. At some point, there's going to be a death that impacts you. At some point, your steady job is not going to be so steady or you're going to lose it. At some point, you're going to go through a relationship shift. Ugly stuff. Ugly stuff. That knocks people out all the time. Let me tell you positive stuff that knocks people out. You wouldn't think positive would do that. You women, you're going to get pregnant. You're going to get pregnant. You're going to have a new baby. You guys that are so loyal and hardworking, you're going to get a job promotion. And you're going to take it because you need to pay your bills. And suddenly you're going to realize your job promotion came with 20 hours more work. And now what happened to time for ACN? Here's one, new relationship. New relationship. Failed relationship replaced by new relationship. Young love, the heart pitter-pattering. Everything is new and fresh. I'll get to ACN tomorrow. I'll get to ACN tomorrow, and then ACN's no longer there. Holidays. Holidays, as in Christmas, Easter, New Year's, etc. Or as you Europeans do, May through August in the south of Europe. Come on. You know, I used to fight with my Scandinavian team why they don't work from middle of May to August. I fought with them every year, and then I actually threw in the towel. Give it up. Now, some would keep doing a little bit, but between May, you guys check out from May 15th to August 15th. And I don't understand that per se because I'm trying to help you so you could have a year-round holiday, but you have this mindset, we close up, we go down to the south of France or we hop off to Greece and we go ahead and do this and we spend all of our time so that we can kill ourselves the other 8 months of the year so that we can afford the holiday next year. You Americans don't do that. The Americans do it different. You know, Christmas is December 25th, but you take the month off. You know, it's a holiday, not a holla month, not a holla year, not a holla quarter. But these are things that get in the way of your consistency. And here's the thing. What's really worse than the good things and the bad things that you deal with is when they overlap. Like you women having a new baby, and then it's the holiday. Or guys, you went through a job loss and then found out that somebody in your family's ill. And so you have stackable issues. So let me give you some tools now. Let's move this forward. Your first tool to surviving, and I'm going to get to compartmentalization and teach you it in a moment, but I want this to work for you guys. Tool number one to being able to balance your life and still grow in ACN is, you're going to be surprised, your why. W-H-Y. You're saying, I can't believe this guy is number one. I'm here to tell you, 90%, 96% of the battle that you're going through is nothing to do with ACN and the customer you had trouble connecting or the person that quit. It's in the space between your ears. 6 inches, I have no idea what that converts to, 11 or 12 centimeters between your ears. It's all the rufous negativity that you have to go through. And so You have to have a why strong enough to make you cry. If your why isn't strong enough to make you cry, it's not big enough. It has to move you to work through the dump, the rubbish, to get to the other side. You have to work when every reason is telling you to quit, you have to have a why strong enough to tell you to get going again. And here's the problem. Ready for the big one? Don't let your reason why become your reason why not. Give you an example. I learned this from Debbie Davis, queen mother of ACN. Her mother comes in. I'm a single mom. I have to make ACN work. I'm juggling. I'm paying more for babysitters and nannies. I have to make ACN work. So, all right, let's go. Let's go, Mrs. So-and-so. Let's make it work. A month or so is okay. 2 months, it's hard. 3 months, I don't get a call back. So-and-so, remember, we're trying to get you home. Listen, I can't get to the work because, my child got sick, my baby this. The reason why they came in ACN became the reason why they can't get to ACN. Am I making sense? Mm. Don't let the reason why you're doing ACN become the reason why not. Your long-term survival is predicated on your why. Your why has to be so real, so strong, so raw that the thought of quitting doesn't even enter your mind. You guys get that? Doesn't even enter your mind. Let me help you. When a leader comes to me a week, a month, 2, and says, Mr. Frager, I'm still committed to this. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to quit. I said, good, let's keep going. When they call me next week, I just want you to know I'm not going to quit. I'm not giving up. Next week, I'm not giving up. I'm not going to quit. Can anybody tell me what am I certain they're going to do?
Yes.
Thank you, Doug. Everybody get that? I'm certain that they're going to quit. Why am I certain that they're going to quit? Because they keep bringing it up. It's in their mind. It's like if I go to Cindy and say, I'm not going to cheat. I'm not going to cheat. Honey, baby, honey, I'm not going to cheat. She's certain I'm going to cheat. We are what we think. We are what we put in our mind. So part of why I'm hitting this why is that some of you, and I'm talking to my team in the United States very strongly right now, but all of you, you have not created a why that's real, strong, and raw. You are not 100% sold out. You're 99%, but you're not 100%. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius, and a lot of you are at 99. And all that means is the water is hissing and popping and spitting. You can't cook pasta with it. You can't sterilize with it. It's useless. If I tell my wife that I'm 99% committed to her, if I have 99% integrity, do I have integrity?
No.
You're in or you're out. And some of you are trying to move forward, but you're driving your ACN business looking at your rear view mirror at all the things that you left behind, and you are not sold out. And I use this illustration all the time. I'll just make it simple. But if you're flying from New York, JFK to Heathrow, or Heathrow to New York, there's a spot over the Atlantic. It's called the point of no return. Now, I've used this, humor me, for those of you that have heard this. 60% of the fuel, the petrol of an airplane, is used when it pulls away from the gate, taxis to the runway, goes down the runway, and lifts off the tarmac. 60%. 60%. 40% gets you from JFK to Heathrow or Heathrow to JFK. How many of you are surprised by that you fly across the ocean on 40% of what you started with? There's a spot over the ocean. Pilots call it the point of no return. They know based on the 40% fuel that when they cross that point, they have to continue to the other side, or if there's a problem, they have to turn around and get back. Once they cross that, there's not enough fuel to think about it. And I liken that in the business to when you are hitting life's challenges and you are doing this with your business. You're circling the point of no return. Should I go for it in ACN? Should I, it hasn't worked for me like I wanted to. Maybe I should back down and get some more work. Maybe I should just, maybe I can go on hiatus. Let me grab that other college class. You're doing this. And when you're doing this, what are you doing to the fuel? You're using it up. And here's what's awful. You neither have enough energy now or fuel to get to your goal, and you don't even have enough to get back. Because now if you go back to where you were, all your friends and family are sitting there saying, welcome back. We told you ACN didn't work. Congratulations. Yes. Remember I told you it's a scam, scheme, pyramid, Ponzi. Welcome back. Welcome. Come on back. Told you you're a failure. Welcome. How many of you, no matter what you do not want to go back and give credibility to the people that tell you that? I would rather have my nails yanked out one at a time with a pliers than to go back to the people that told me it wouldn't work. Write this down. Your biggest enemy are the people that tell you it won't happen. One of my favorite rhymes. It's not the man with knife or gun. It's the man who says it can't be done. That's who your biggest enemy is. Sadly, that enemy is sometimes living in your psyche, in your brain, because some of you have had so many failures, so much lack of affirmation. You grew up in an environment where you're like a foster child and you don't really know what a real family structure is like. Mom and dad or other siblings and all never confirm their love for you. You were always made like some of you know some of the songs that are out there, perfect. Alanis Morissette, some of them have it, where, you were pushed to always be perfect and always put on appearances, but you were never taught to look in the mirror and like what looks bad. And so you come into this business and you honestly do not know if you're going to make it. How many of you would get on an airplane with a pilot that's honestly not sure when they leave Heathrow if they're going to make it to JFK? Would you go on?
No.
I wouldn't. Most of us, when we get on an airplane, think about this, you guys. We take a leap of faith. When I walk down the gate, like you do, I don't know if the pilot was drinking or took drugs the night before. I have no idea how aeronautics work. I don't have any idea when the last time was the plane was maintained. I don't know if the navigation system is working, and I'm going to get in this aluminum and steel tube with 300 other passengers and go at 500 miles an hour, at 800 kilometers an hour, and I'm going to go across an ocean where if I crash, it's certain death, all on good faith. But some of you will start your ACN journey and question everything. Rule number one, why I'm sticking on this. If your why isn't strong enough to get you past your point of no return so that you stop circling, put yourself out of misery, you guys. I told you some of you are going to quit after this presentation and some of you are going to become strong leaders. I need you guys to understand that the longer that it takes for you to do what you set out to do, the less chance there is to do it. You will do it. It's called the law of diminishing intent. The law of diminishing intent. The longer it takes for you to do what you committed to doing, the less chance there is you're going to do it. Just checking in real quick. Are we keeping up? Show of hands. Am I going too fast? If anything, let me just look at my chat. We're all agreeing. Great. How many of you are learning something? Okay, show of hands. How many of you are not learning something? I just need to make... Keelan? Okay, well, you still had your hands up from the last time. Okay, good. I was worried about you, buddy. Revisit your why, because your why morphs. I got in the business because mom and dad had cancer and all that. Sadly, I lost my mom and dad 15 and 17 years ago. I would get customers using my why. Those of you guys that are not getting customers using your why, you're missing the big picture. You could get customers. We have a good service on our own, but I get customers, listen, can you do me a huge favor and help me out? My dad has cancer. He can't cover his bills. I'm helping. Here's how you can help me. If I can meet or beat what you're paying with the same or better service, will you do me a favor and give it a try? I used my why. Favor, help, try, share your why. That's how you get a customer, ladies and gentlemen. I don't care what country you're in. If you're not doing favor, help, try, share your why, you are missing the purpose of our program. So dad died. Mom died. What? What's going to be my why? I wasn't diagnosed with the leukemia until a year and a half ago. What do I do in all these 15 years? What? I guess I quit my ACN business? No, I had to rediscover my why. How about that I had to discover the fact that Cindy's parents were aging? How about that I realized that I have siblings that cannot cover their bills if they lose their work? And the list goes on. Your why is there, but some of you are afraid to get gritty with it. I almost said get jiggy with it, but that's a different thing. You don't know how to get gritty with it, and you want to know why you're not getting gritty with discovering your why? Because you're afraid to face it. See, to get real with your why, the part that's going to wake you up, the part that's going to keep you going when every real reason, I didn't say excuse, when every reason is telling you to get out, is because you got to get in like a dark room, shut the lights, turn everything, and you need to get real and think about what makes you feel pain. Some of you guys don't want to do that because you don't want to face those demons. And can I just help you? I'm not a shrink or anything, but if you suppress all the negative stuff and you never face it, it's like when someone dies and you don't let grief out. Does it help you or hurt you?
Hurt you.
Hurt you. It's like if you keep painting on top of peeling paint, it's still going to keep peeling off from the underneath. So tool number one to being able to balance life in ACN is you need to have a strong why. Don't worry, I'm getting to compartmentalization. Tool number two. Set realistic expectations. Realistic expectations. I am completely excited about my U.S. team. I'm looking at my screen right now at least a dozen people who will all hit regional director in the next 2 months. Underneath of Eric and Sharia Dorchu are going to be 12-week RDs. And I'm excited with them. You know, I was having a conversation with Tanya Dobis this morning on Zoom. No question in my mind where she's going, where others are going. No question. Battling through, fighting through. Here's my problem. When things come fast, they tend to go fast. The faster you get wealthy, the quicker you lose it. 95% of the people that win the lottery are bankrupt within 5 years. Did you guys know that?
Yes.
I opened up my Yahoo, my news this morning. Somebody in America won the $515 million US lottery. Woohoo! Somebody is going to get $500 million, take off taxes and everything else, and 95% chance they're going to be bankrupt in the next 3 to 5 years. This is my point. I'm excited about my fast RDs, but I'm going to have to stick with them for a while, as Doug knows, as Mr. Ranjit knows, because they're not tempered. Their roots are not deep in the soil yet. And they're not ready to face the real storms that are ahead. That's why Grandpa's here. God, I don't want to say that. That's why Papa's here. So the reason I'm bringing up realistic expectations is that while some of you are going to get to your goal in 3 months, and like, for example, in the Dorches, 3-month RDs tend to be 1-year RVPs. That's awesome. Until it's not. Because this has to be viewed as a 3 to 5 year plan. You might get to the goal. You might get a pin that says RVP much quicker than that, or RD certainly quicker. But the real value of your business is when your tree roots have gone in deep enough to weather the storms that are still a few years out. In this game, it's not about just being first place. That's great. Look, can I just tell you guys a joke? I think it's humorous that Cindy and I have topped the charts in North America at #1. We're top 5 and everything. I think it's humorous, okay? The reason I think it's humorous is because I told Cindy, I said, well, we're flavor of the month. And the reason I say that is because it's not a pin or a title or a chart that matters. It's long-term. How many of you would rather not be #1 but just have good long-term residual income? Can I just help you? That's what this is about. Now, great. If I keep in production, which is my plan, we're going to continue to grow and see our residuals grow. Did you like the way Americans, I'm saying that? Residuals grow. That's it. It's right with compartmentalization, just so you guys know. I figure I'll defer to the...
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
With SVP Zia Rehman also on the call.
Who?
Senior Vice President Zia Rehman.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you and congratulations for coming. It's an honor to be with you. I'm so grateful. Do we have a spotlight where we can feature
Well,
him?
he's helping me with the document, but I think he's loading it, which is not.
It's okay. We'll provide it after. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
How many of you can see the document?
Yeah, we can. Thank you. We need it on the chat, Lucia. It'd be great.
There you go. So just so you guys know, that's going to be available to you for you to play with afterwards and take notes on. Here's what I want you to know. More important than being first place is being in the business until you win, and then after you win. Long term. When I play the game of golf, which I'm very bad at, I'm not playing against the people that are in the cart or on the course with me. Who am I playing against? Any golfers here?
Yes, sir.
Sampo?
Yes,
I'm playing against myself. Very good. You're playing in ACN, you're playing against yourself. I remember talking to Greg Provenzano one time, our president, and he said, Joel, I was in a really bad spot, you guys. Now listen to what the president of ACN, Mr. Provenzano, who is known for his empathy and kindness, he said, I would not sign up under you if you were the last rep in ACN. I said, excuse me, sir? He says, do you hear your stinking thinking? Do you hear where you're at? Where is, you're comparing yourself. He said, compete, but don't compare. You guys get the sense of that? Compete with the people around you, but don't compare. If you're a single mom with babies and a job, you can't necessarily grow at the same level as someone that's, a single person with tons of connections and just blowing through this. But here's what I know. If you prevail as a single mom and get to your goal, you're going to be long-term much easier than the person that got there in 90 days. The cabinet maker doesn't take the wood from the pine trees in the valley. They take it from the trees that are at the top of the tree line where all the adversity and storms and hail and winter is, because it makes the grain tight and strong. That's where the best cabinets come from. You're being weathered. Your goal is to perdure. P-E-R-D-U-R-E. It's my license plate on my Panamera. P-U-R-D-U-R-E. Look it up. I changed my plates some years ago because you women that are pregnant, for example, you endure 9 months. Then the baby comes out and it's over. But to perdure is when you endure without any foreseeable end and with numerous calamities in your way. The Wall of China is often referred to as a man-made project that has perdured millenniums of war and conflict and weather. You have to perdure. To win in this game, you need to go long-term amidst adversity in order to win. You need to understand that the emotional roller coaster exists at every single level in your business. Some of you struggled just to get CQ, but you won. Woot, woot. Some of you struggled to get to ETL on your 30th day. I have one of my ETLs been in like 3 years and just broke and hit ETL. Woot, woot, good for you. But the problem is, as you go up to RD and RVP and SVP, you still are going to have the emotional roller coaster. The difference, if I can help you, the emotional roller coaster exists at every level, but the more money and the more success you've created over long term, the less you care about it. If you are a brand new ETL and you have a couple customers that have issues, you just can't get those dang SIMs to work in your Joy phone. You just can't get that flash wireless in the USA to get connected right. And by goodness, I have 3 customers and one of my customers won't sign up. End of the world. Of course it is. You have 3 customers, one's a problem. You have a third of your business is failing. But as 3 customers become 30, and 30 becomes 300, and 300 becomes 3,000, and 3,000 becomes 30,000, and 30,000 becomes 300,000. A customer or 2 issue doesn't matter so much, does it? Because you've endured. We all have issues, but you got to remember your long term. So the first thing we learned is your why. The second thing we learned is you have to have realistic expectations. Some of you have a gun to your head. Every day you wake up, I must perform. What am I going to do if this doesn't work? Why is this happening? Can you write this down? Leaders never ask why. Leaders ask, what am I supposed to learn from this challenge? Why is for losers. What am I supposed to learn is for winners. Look, if life knocks you temporarily out of the game, true story, Women grow life in their body. And then after 9 months, they push this life through a canal and it comes out. But that's not the end. Then they got to breastfeed and service and take care of and change diapers. Sometimes when that happens, your business goes a little bit on the back burner. It doesn't have to knock you out permanently. You ready for some horror stories? I love sharing horror stories. I'm going to share this with you. If you're new and you're not sure about your ACM business, I need you to mute me for a minute because I'm going to share with you some stuff that will absolutely scare I don't want to say the word. It's absolutely going to scare the beep out of you. I'm going to tell you something. 2001, we were building ACN Energy. To my senior vice president and regional vice presidents today, this is before your time. In the United States, we had deregulation of power all across the U.S. In California alone, where I live, I had 60,000 gas customers lining up. Whoo! Talk about some income, you guys. If you guys in Europe focus on blue, green, and we do Zoom, whoo! It was awesome. Until it wasn't. 2 companies in the U.S., Enron and Duke Energy, started swindling people. States started to get upset. Federal government got involved, put a complete kibosh on all of this. Now, I want you to keep in mind, 2001, everybody remembers the Twin Towers, the terrorist attacks in the U.S. This was not a great time. But here comes energy, and we're trying to persevere through this. And I'm making I got to keep this legally compliant, really special income during that period. Special income. And then, due to no fault of ACN, the government said, no more energy. Pennsylvania lost it. New York lost it. Texas lost it. All these states. It's like, California. Okay, ready? You guys, again, if you're not strong, if you're brand new, please mute. I need you just mute for 30 seconds. I lost 60,000 gas customers in one day. You can unmute now. How many of you would say that that's not your best day in ACN? 60? Did you? Okay, you guys hold on. I'm going to use the period for you Europeans because we use a comma. Just so everybody got the correct number, that's the number. That's how many customers I lost in one day.
60,000.
Thank you, Anna. Why am I sharing that with you? It wasn't ACN's fault. People who did not have realistic expectations quit when that happened. People who were building everything with one service or with just singularity and not seeing the big picture. ACN wasn't to blame. Here's what I figured. I had just made a lot of special income for the last year or two, and then it went away. So instead of thinking about the fact that it went away, I tried to take my mindset, Rufus, the bad stuff, kick it out, and I started to think about, but look at all the money I made that I would have never met. See, when I was in the Circle of Champion a year before that, Robert Stevanovsky, our chairman of the board, said, we can get into energy, we can get out. We're not sure how it's going to go. There's lots of questions, and we all voted, let's go. So we knew that this chance existed. But my point is, how many of you might have considered quitting if you lost 60,000 customers in one day?
No.
Be real. All of you would have thought about it. I thought about it. But I didn't entertain it. Because the co-founders did what the co-founders always do. They immediately brought us other services. That began the period that would lead to eventually our video phone. We don't do video phones anymore. We made millions on video phones. There was a period in there for pagers. Remember, beep, beep, beep on your waist? We made millions on woo, beautiful. We are in the distribution business. Does everybody get that? Some of you guys are excited. Look, I'm jacked out of my mind. I have it straight from Thomas Vestergaard, our country manager in the UK, that this week is going to be our magical week for ID Seal Guardian, you guys. How many of you excited about that? You're going to get big announcements. We thought it was going to be May 1st. How many of you knew it was going to be May 1st? Mm-hmm. There wasn't 100% perfect experience for our customers, ladies and gentlemen. Would you have rather we started May 1st and have customers upset, or wait till May 25th to June 1st and have happy customers? Yay, here's what I'm excited about. that it gives me another week to promote for the coming of ID Seal Guardian for our customers in Europe. Woo! And then a good network marketer is a future. I'm excited about what's coming more than I am about what's arrived. I'm excited about whatever I built my pipeline for. The next service is going to keep adding to my pipeline. You have to have realistic expectations. There are going to be great days and there are going to be bad days. There is going to be days where your kids are sick and days where your kids are great. There's going to be days when your job is good and days when your job is bad. If you own a McDonald's and you spent $1 million or $2 British pounds or dollars, there's going to be a day when the kids that from high school left the freezer open and you just lost 20,000 pounds of burgers. It happens. That's a good thing to put on your thing. It happens. You can decide if extra letters have to be added. But it happens. Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? Point number 3, because I got to be mindful for training. Point number 3. Set a winning environment. Set a winning environment. That's the third thing to balancing life and ACN. Stand guard at the gateway of your emotions. I'm going to give you 5 points. They're on your chart. You can write them down, or you can wait till you get your hand up. Number 1, don't let your highs be too high or your lows be too low. When people come to me and say, this guy, he's getting on the private business Zoom tonight. Oh, baby, if he comes in, he's a winner. I know to treat him like everybody else. See, if you don't let your highs be too high and your lows be too low, then you're going to navigate through the roller coaster of life much better. Number 2, engage those closest to you in your cause. Who are the people that are putting wind in your sails? With all the powers vested in me that I really don't have, I am charging you with the responsibility to spend time with the ones who put wind in your sails and take away that time from the people taking the wind out of your sails. You are who you surround yourself with, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you kiss goodnight a negative, whiny, thumb-sucking person. I love you. Ooh. That's what you're doing, and they don't support you, which leads me to my third point. Resolve relationship issues and demand respect. I'm going to sit on this one for a second. Some of you have marriage mates, live-in lovers, alternative relationships. I'm not here to say anything except for this. That person that's supposed to be buoying you up is not doing so. Look, they don't have to do the business, but if that person claims affection and love, you should demand the respect of your decision. Because otherwise you're running a race and you have 5 kilos, 10 pounds on your ankles. How hard is that going to be? And some of you would rather not confront and leave it unresolved. Back to the paint that's peeling and you keep painting over it. You're not addressing your why. So you got to get it right, you guys. If you don't, you can't force your other half to support you in terms of doing the work and all, but there should be at least respect for what you're trying to achieve. That last point about engaging those closest to you in your cause, that might be people sidelined to you in your business. It could be somebody that's not in your business, but they always are positive for you. You can go do it. You can go get them. First person that you need to engage in your cause is the person that's looking at you in your mirror. Would you guys make a note of that? Because if you don't believe that that person in the mirror is going to win, then guess what? You're not going to win. Here's a big one for you guys with families. Number 4, engage your children. Include them in your mission. Reward them when you hit your goal. Here's a little something I recommend. How many of you are not yet regional directors? Can you raise your hand for a moment? Okay. How many of you that have your hands up have children and are still not there? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what we did. My kids were 5 and 2. They didn't understand, but we did so many 3-way calls on the way to appointments. I'd be in the car on my Bluetooth, and we'd go down that when my kids hit 7 and 8, they all knew how to do presentations. They were doing impressions of Greg Provenzano and the Koopases in the back seat. To this day, can we mute out Galaxy 8? There we go. They They were going ahead and they heard so much that we engaged them. So guess what? They didn't understand ACN, but we had a powwow. Mommy and daddy are going to do something for a short period of time. And we have this goal called regional director. And when we hit regional director, we're going to take a vacation. And we're going to enjoy and celebrate this together. Because your part of it is we're going to go ahead and still spend time together, but you're part of this with us. We engaged our kids. I have a regional director that told her kids, is if you support me and help me when I'm in the car making calls and doing that, we're going to go to Disneyland. And she took them. And she became a top regional director in my team. Engage your kids. Let them feel like part of it. For crying out loud, my daughter, who's 27, is my direct upline. My son sits over top of a big chunk of Europe, as does my wife. I mean, come on. Do you think they care now? Look, for 3 years, we used our vacations taking trips to go do private business receptions when we didn't have Zoom. And when we'd go on a vacation, the half day would be on calls and the other half day would be with vacations. We were off balance, write this down, off balance for a window of time so we could be in perfect balance for the last 23 years. And you can probably sense I'm getting close to compartmentalization. Because I'm going to tell you what we did so that we didn't give up the important stuff. Engage your children. Last, number 5, engage your family and friends. Don't spend time. Choose not to spend time with anyone not actively supporting your cause. 2 big words. Walk away. Walk away. I am not talking about those of you that have family or spiritual relationships. I am not for 1 minute suggesting that you minimize your love for such ones. Please write this down. There's a difference between loving people and being in love with people. This is business. We are on a business call. This should not affect your ultimate family and relationship. I love my brother, the one that hasn't been my customer in 25 years. I love him as much as I did at the beginning. I told him I don't want you as a customer now because your story of me telling people how you've not been my customer is worth more than the $5 or $10 a month I'd be making. So he's actually part of my success. It is great. I love him, but when he asks me, and he always asks me, and he will ask me this when he comes in 2 weeks, how's ACN going, Joel? Everything working? And I'm going to tell him what I've told him for 25 years. Well, Mark, I've been home for 23 and a half years, and Cindy and I, we travel the world and we pay our bills. But I know that in his mind, he has a limited way of seeing things. So I love him, but when it comes to business, I'm not in love. Am I making sense? That's kind of a hard one to teach. If you sit in a toxic environment, you will be affected. How many of you like chocolate cake? Chocolate cake lovers? Okay. A purple onion, a red onion. You have an empty refrigerator. You have a beautiful homemade chocolate cake on the top shelf, and about 10 centimeters away, 5 inches away, you have a purple onion, red onion that's uncovered. You come back 2 days later, you get a slice of your chocolate cake. It looks like chocolate cake, feels like chocolate cake, but tastes like what? Who can tell me?
Yeah.
Red onion.
What?
Onion.
Onion. Because the chocolate cake chose to spend time in the proximity of the onion. You are what you take in. Garbage in on the internet, garbage out. Friendships that are toxic will deplete you. Relationships that are toxic will deplete you. That's why you need to stand up for your situation. If you're in a toxic relationship, but one you can't fix, then at least have healthy boundaries so that you can finish your task. Here's a secret that my wife knows. I've told her since, but I would have done it anyways. 25 and a half years ago, when I joined up ACM, my wife was in full support. But can I tell you a little secret? Even if she wasn't, I would have still done ACM and worked it out because my dad was dying. He needed the income. And I would have just worked twice as hard to get it done so I could prove to my wife why I was doing this for my family and hers. I would have manned up. You guys get that? Is that a British expression, Doug? Can you man up?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, thank you. Have you noticed that I spent almost all the time on setting yourself up to win? How many of you would like to learn the art of compartmentalization? Look at your thing here. I'm going to show you how simple this is. It's so simple. Here's life. I want you to take your paper, if you can, flip it over, and I want you to put just boxes. Just draw a little square.
Mr. Frager, I'm so sorry we failed to re-show the document in a downloadable form. So
It's okay. It's okay. Everybody's gonna get one. Jenny, when you've got the copy, you can get it out on all of the many. I have 3 or 4 threads that do about 200 messages a day each. So you have STS and Royal and Rhino and everything. So just get them out and let everybody have fun with it, okay?
thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. You're a doll. Take your paper on your back. I want you to draw boxes. Just draw squares. You don't have to be perfect. Just draw boxes. Want it to look something like this? If you're doing, I can't see. Can you see that?
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, and then I want you to put topics in your box. I want you to put, family, work, health, sleep. I wish I could make this part of the training more complicated, but it's so simple. It's unbelievable. Most of us, we're parents, so we have our job, we have our health, we have our spouse or significant other, we have our children, and we attempt in the course of the days to we live our life by putting out fires. How many of you understand what I'm talking about? We categorize in America, we would say 5-alarm, 4-alarm, 3-alarm in order of priority. And the whole day is given to putting out fires. You're in the middle of something and the baby falls. New fire. That's going to happen, by the way, regardless. You're trying to get to your ACN set up for your PBZ, your private business Zoom, or your daily calls in London or wherever, and things, you're just putting out fires. Life controls you. You don't control it. So what do? You multitask. You do the best you can doing several hats at the same time. Remember at the beginning of this training, I asked you, is it better to have your hats on top of each other or hat on, hat off, hat on, hat off, right? So here's how simple this is. And again, this is the ending part of our training, last 5 minutes or so. How many of you have done PX90 or you've done the training, where you do 5 minutes of cardio, 5 minutes of flipping a tire, 5 minutes of running up a hill, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? That's compartmentalization. See, old school is, we're just going to work our arms today. We're going to work just our abs today. But when people do that type of training, like PX90 or P90X, I think it's called, they do 5 minutes here, close the box, 5 minutes here, close the box, and your body goes through this swing of aerobic training, anaerobic training, muscle building, cardio. You guys with me? And the end result is that in 6 weeks, you get done what a normal workout program would have taken 6 months for. I want you to try something. It took me 6 months to a year to master this. One of my mentors, he's actually a friend and a spiritual mentor to me, and he was seeing me crazy all the time. And not crazy like I'm normally, but just a different kind of crazy. And he said, you're trying to do everything all the time at once. Try this. Break up life and its issues and its blessings into boxes. Learn to live in the box of the moment. Here's the difference. Without worrying about the next box. Do you guys get that? That was a big thing. It's a mindset. Live the box in the moment without worrying about the next box and without allowing the emotion from the last box to spill into the current box. Is everybody with me on the boxes?
Yeah.
Hang with me. I'm getting deep on you. You're saying this doesn't make any sense. It really does, but I'm trying to help you and you're not getting it. You have your children. You're going to give them bath time and reading time, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much time is that box? Write it down, put it on your schedule. How much time is your employment? Put it down on a schedule. For me, personal development and spiritual building. So I read my Bible every day. I also have business building time. Put it in a box. How much time am I spending for peaking people for my next private business Zoom or event? Put it, give yourself the time box. How much time is spent sitting on the presentation for my US team? Can you listen to this part for a second? Cheering on my fellow partners on screen, laughing when Mr. Frager tells a joke, clapping, waving, doing it. Not doing this and doing text messages during my presentation when your SVP is busting their butt trying to get you your business to grow. Everybody is in this together. Put it in a box. Line up your boxes. If you have just given 30 minutes to lunch, way too long, unless you have an eating disorder, put it in a 15-minute box and add 15 minutes for peaking. Why did I not mention customer acquisition? Because I know that if you peak more people for the business, you'll get more no's, which are your customers. Only amateurs go after customers alone. Those of us that are pros have gone after the business because we already know 8 out of 10 aren't going to join the business. 2 are going to join. 8 out of 10 are going to say, let me think about it. That's where you go for your customers. Put presentation, put it in a box. Try this. Your assignment for compartmentalization is I'd like for you to take what remains of this month, and I want you to take your boxes and put it on your calendar. How many of you have a calendar like Google or someone else? Let me show you something. This is going to help you. You think, that hypocrite, he doesn't do this. Look at my phone I'm about to show you. I don't know if you can tell this.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my alarms for the day. Do you guys see how many alarms I have on there?
Those.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
You know why those alarms? Those are the alarms which tell me to get out of my box and go into my next box. Does everybody understand this? And so here's what's going to happen. I know this is Doug, I need just 2 more minutes. I don't want to run into another training. Can I have just a couple more minutes or no?
Yes, indeed. You are free. Yeah.
Okay, so just stay with me on this, you guys. When you do multitasking, you don't get everything done. That's just built into the multitasking because your brain cannot focus. By the way, women do better at multitasking than men. Men are watching television and women are talking, and we don't even know they're talking because we're focused. It's a different physiology for men than women. Women are like, so did you hear what I just said? And we're like, heck no. I was just watching the game. Manchester just scored a goal. I mean, why are you talking to me? Right? So my point is this: you're going to fail if you multitask anyways. Here's what's going to happen if you compartmentalize. If you put lunch, 15 minutes, peaking for PBZ, 15 minutes, make dinner, however long that is, babies in bath and reading time. There you go. Read Bible, read John Maxwell. If you do this, it's still going to be messy. Everybody hearing me? This is like the big, remember I told you the symphony and the big scenario. So everything's happening right now. Horns are blowing. The guy on the thing is doing. This is where we are in our concert today. It's still going to be messy, but here's what happens. If you do this on your life, like I do every day, you're still going to have projects incomplete. You had 5 people to peak. You're going to have 3. You were going to read your babies 3 for 15 minutes. You got 10. You, in the middle of your peaking times, the kid falls over and spills food on your carpet. You have to subtract. I understand it's messy, but you will find yourself doing a better task at ACN and everything else when you give it 100% in the box. Close the box, jump into the next box. Give it 100%. Close the box, jump into the next box. Give 100%. That's better than box on top, hat on top of hat on top of hat on top of hat. I was like, I told my friend George, are you kidding me? He said, try. I failed miserably. You're going to fail miserably. I kept failing miserably until I got not so bad. Then I got good. Now I can't lead my life without a box. And here's the one caveat. You set your time limits. And I just finished by saying the things that matter most in life. Some of you in my US team are going to get this part. I'm talking to you for a moment. For example, little known fact about Cindy and I and our family, for those of you in the UK and all. We are very spiritually minded people. We meet for Bible study in my family regularly. We even set aside time every week to do that. That's important for me. You might be, in your family, you might be non-religious. You might be focused on the Quran. You might be focused on something else. That's for you. Listen to me. There are some things that are non-negotiable in the boxes. There must be a spot for you and the person that you share a relationship with, spouse or otherwise, for you to have some quality time. There must be. There must be time spent each day with your children. There has to be. Do not grow up not knowing your children and you're an SVP. That sucks. I'm an SVP and I love that I have the best relationship with my kids and my wife. There must be time for your health. There has to be. There must be 5 to 15 minutes. I don't care if it's Minute by Maxwell and that's it, or if you have 15 minutes for personal development every day. Has to be. You can't attract leaders if you're not the leader. You must be the person you're supposed to attract. So you have to put those elemental points on your schedule. Then when you, and you have to be realistic. How much time can I give and create a quality environment? How much time do I need to do playtime with my kids, to do crayons? How much time do I need to sit down with my spouse and just talk? And by the way, you're in the box. You're spending time with your spouse? This is gone. This is what I was talking about. You're with your kids, reading for whatever it is you're reading. This is gone. I'm doing worshipful things in my family. This is gone. ACN comes. This is in my hand. And I'm busting out through it. That's why you guys got to get good at the scripts and the proven ways to build the business, because some of you are having these long, toasty conversations with people, talking about the school, the dog, the car, the hat. Oh, by the way, what are you doing tomorrow at 8 a.m. in London when we have our presentation? What are you doing tomorrow for our people? No. This is business. Hey, John. Hey, I know you're busy. So glad to catch up with you. But John, crazy question. What are you doing tomorrow night at 7 p.m.? Are you open to making some extra money? Great. And you're right after it. You're in the box. Think about flipping tires, doing this, doing pull-ups, doing burpees, and you have to do intensity in individual. Show of hands, how many of you are getting this? Let me check my chat because I'm overtime. Doug, you knew when you had me that I was going to be overtime, right? Okay.
Correct.
Okay, sorry about that.
Excited.
I'm using my privileges here. I just want you guys to understand. And here's what I'm going to tell you guys. If you guys didn't understand any of that, just simply look here. Everybody look at your chat. Hold on. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I know you guys think I'm crazy because you know I can't even keep up with my team. But here's what I know. I live and breathe and eat ACN. There's a +1 for you guys in UK. I'm on WhatsApp. I'm on everything. If you did not understand something I just taught you on compartmentalization, send me a text. Please make sure you get this paper that went with it. Here's the bottom line. Instead of doing your business all at once and doing poorly at everything, all that I do, all that leaders do, is we compartmentalize in boxes. And when the time is up on a box, we stop the task and move to the next box. Of course, there'll be disruptions. Yesterday, I woke up with a terrible stomach ache. That wiped out an hour, man. That was awful. How many of you know you're going to get sick? You're going to get a vaccine, and it's going to knock you out for a day or two. Then, here's the best part. Last part of compartmentalization. Don't go backwards. You guys hear that part? Wait a minute. Wherever you get knocked out, don't go back. Just start with the next box on your schedule. I kid you not. Don't go back and try to make up for the other thing. Now, if there was something essential there, you know, for my wife and I, if family worship was bumped out because of something, then we're going to move it to another night. Then we're going to create a new box a night from now. But as a rule, the best way to live compartmentalization is whenever you get knocked out because the kid fell and broke their arm and you were in the ER, guess what? Don't go backwards. Just start with the next box that was on your schedule. Crazy secret. Everything in life seems to go right on like it was going to. I want to thank you guys for your time. I want you guys to understand that if the comp plan, which was 1/10 of what we have today when Cindy and I were coming up. If we had let life knock us out of the game, if we had not learned how to compartmentalize while raising our children, selling our construction business, caring for sick parents till they died, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be here today. And all I wanted to be for you, including Professor Regional Vice President Extraordinaire Doug Juru, Mr. Where it is, Regional Vice President Anthony Ranjit, and our noteworthy Senior Vice President who is here with us and building with us. All I wanted to do was provide you a sense of what reality is in going in this business. It's messy. Life is messy. But if you take that last 5 to 10 minutes on compartmentalization, and you're going to be miserable at it, give yourself a break and keep going back to it. And whenever you if you disobey the box, you have to still go back and put a new box on. You don't hurt yourself, just start again. And if you do this, I kid you not, if you focus on long term, if you understand this is 3 to 5 years, some of you are working 20, 30 years for your boss, and so you can retire on a fraction of what you're not even living on right now. And I'm here telling you that you'll make money in months, but this is a 3-year or more mindset. Don't complain. That's better than 30 or 40 years. If you focus on long-term results, that leads to relentless activity. Relentless activity will get you to long-term success. I am jacked out of my mind to share this with you. If Mr. Juru and Miss Arrowsmith and the other leaders would wish, I would love to offer to the UK and to my friends a specialized training, whenever you do it, on turning cold market into warm. I want to help you guys to learn how to turn cold. Half of my business is all from cold market now. I want you to know how to put the icing on the cake. Thank you all, and sorry I went over time, but not really. I hope it gave you something. Okay? Good to be with you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Frager.
Thank you, Joel.
Thank you, Mr. Vega. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joel.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Joe.
Thank you, Joel. We appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with you.
We'll have you back, sir. Definitely.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Come back again.
Was
Come
this,
back again.
Yes. Possible.
Congratulations.
was this recorded?
It was.
Yeah,
It
the
was.
recording will come out and the document as well.
Yes,
Ah,
please.
thank you.
Thanks, Jenny,
Thanks.
and
Thanks.
thanks for sharing this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, for all of my US people that are on there, let's kick in. We have two USA PBZs today at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock Pacific. So if anybody has activity in the US, let's load it up, okay? 6
Thank
o'clock
you.
and 7 o'clock Eastern time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Meeting